Davis, Grenada, at the summer school called Uprising at the graduation. And I'm with three of the ladies behind Uprising. So if you could introduce yourselves for me, please.
Okay, my name is Damali Antoine.
My name is Ria Jacob.
And my name is Carlisha Antoine.
Okay, so ladies, if you could let me know what you do in terms of Uprising, in terms of roles. So you first.
Okay, well, I'm a co-founder.
Okay.
And I basically do, I think we all share the same task.
Okay.
Right, and it's just coordinating projects, coming up with ideas, and then figuring out the best way to execute those projects and raising funds.
Okay, so first and foremost, Uprising, dynamic name, where did it come from?
So, well, we debated a really long time about the name Uprising, but because we had so many things that we wanted to address in society as youth-based violence, gender abuse, and those sorts of things, we decided to attack those issues. But we said the name Uprising for the summer school and the entire group because it is a long process and we don't expect it to happen right now, so it is ongoing.
Okay, so how did you girls come together? What brought you together?
Well, we're cousins, first cousins, sisters, I guess.
And the two of us attended the same universities.
And we were roommates.
We were roommates as well.
A funny story. We were roommates, and me and Kalisha would talk almost every night, every day. So we'd be Skyping all the time with Ria in the room. So we'd like have this three of us just there talking. So yeah, we're not strangers.
Ah, so family connections. That helps. That helps. So who exactly thought there's a problem in our community and generally in Grenada? Who was it that said, let's get together and make something, let's make a change, let's make a difference in the community?
We all did. I mean,
So you all thought it at the same time?
not at the same time, but we talk about these issues all the time. It's discussions that we have.
Right.
So instead of we're actors, so we don't just sit and complain.
Right.
So like, okay, maybe we should do something. I don't know who to put as a master. I don't think it's fair to put somebody as a mastermind behind it because I think we all came up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Great, because I think it's going to be it's a very interesting story because from having the idea of Uprising to then have the graduation, which has been run so well today, you need to give yourselves a round of applause because that was fantastic. But let's go back to how you got to that point, because I'm interested to know, first of all, what support did you get? What was your support network to make Uprising happen, the summer school?
Family first, I guess.
Family first.
Yeah.
And then friends. And then as we started along, the parents became involved.
Right.
And by, talking to the parents, other people joined the team. But I must say that it started from the family. And it sort of just branched off because, once you start from the home, everything just
moves out. So you had a good support base at the beginning.
Yes.
So, what were the challenges that you faced? This is
Financial.
there we go. This is what I want to hit. I just want to hit on. So with most projects starting off, if you haven't got a billionaire father or grandfather or you inherited the money, it's difficult. So how did you go about dealing with the financial situations, or did you ever overcome the financial situations?
Not totally, but as you said, when we talked to the family about it, we had some people that were interested, supported us. As my aunt Josephine Gittins actually donated some stationery supplies to us, so that was one of the that was our push.
Yeah.
We said, okay, if we don't get anything else, we could at least do this. And again, we sent out letters a million places. Didn't get much responses, but we said the challenge was to tell every parent now, well, we didn't get any money, so you kind of have to give your children food because that was.
And that wasn't a problem because they they appreciated the initiative.
Right.
And they thought it's summer and, the kids would probably be out, maybe getting into trouble sometimes. So it wasn't a problem for them to organize and support the food. And even though we told them about getting the food, most days we actually try like to bring
provide
food for them.
those who really don't
Yeah.
have.
Right. So I want to really go back to now the point of you going out and trying to get funding or trying to get support and being knocked back. First of all, were you surprised that you got knocked back?
Not
No,
really.
not
Given
really,
the
'cause-
financial situation,
yeah.
no. As we all know, there's a recession going on, and everybody's cutting their budgets.
Right.
So I guess that just motivated us to go even further, because you can get things done even if you don't have the financial support. If you have the emotional support, one, if you have the push from your parents, if you have the push from your the families. And the children seem to enjoy their time, and you get up every morning, you might be tired from the day before, but you're just so motivated to come back and teach them, because they want to learn and they want to come to school.
Apart from that, like working on projects before, because this is me, social work.
Right.
So I've seen this happening.
Right.
Been starting off projects, working on broken promises, and we had a lot of broken promises.
We'll touch on that.
So it's not, I expected it from doing projects before and from since school, and I think, I was always a part of groups in school. Kalisha was, Ria was, so these are things that we know. It's not, we had to expect it happening, so it wasn't too surprising.
So, on the subject of broken promises, did the government help you at any stage in this?
Can't laugh at that.
After many letters, they did print about half of the certificates.
The certificates.
So they printed the certificates. The
Yes.
government. Sorry. Bravo.
The Ministry of Youth.
Empowerment.
I don't want to do this. I can't.
Empowerment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, did they empower the youth?
Yeah, they do, don't they? Sometimes they're working.
I'm asking the question. That's all. Just the truth. This is what it's about. This is really what it's down to. Because at the end of the day, people need to know what's going on. People need to know what's going on. You're doing a program that's benefiting so many young people in the community. And so, as an interviewer, it would be almost unprofessional of me not to ask the question. You have a lot of young people in the community. The work you've done today has been tremendous. And they always say that show us what you've done, and then afterwards we'll piggyback on that and we'll support you after you've done all the hard work. And say, well done, we were supporting you all along. Well, we know that's not the case. Let's be frank here. I mean, you look at something like Kirani James. Kirani James, who, a lot of people behind Kirani James, I interviewed when I first came to the island. And his story was that he got no support whatsoever from the people that mattered in sport. And so therefore, people closer to him got the support, got him to America, and that's where he is now, and you've got a world and Olympic champion. So it's a common thing, and you've overcome and done a tremendous job to do what you've done. But as I did an interview early on with through your students, they said that the program stops now, yet there's another month to go. Why is that?
Well, we have Carnival, which is vacation for Grenada. We're also transitioning, like, back to school.
Right.
Like Kalisha's leaving next week Wednesday. Yes, and it's incredible that she took the time off from her short vacation in Grenada to spend her days doing this when she could have been at the beach every day or partying. So we have to commend her for that. But apart from that, summer school programs usually cut like around this point in time, because you don't want to get them too occupied, and then they have to enjoy some vacation because they have school starting back in September. We don't want to take up their entire vacation. To be honest, I think if we were going another week again, we'd probably see them losing interest in the program, because it would have just been too much.
Okay, so because the carnival, and you all got personal things that go in your lives, understandable. But so if there wasn't a carnival, for example, you do have a carnival. If there wasn't a carnival, this program potentially could go on, even if it wasn't you directly running. It could go on.
Yes,
Yeah,
with
another week or
finances
two.
and
Okay, so what are the plans in the future for Uprising?
well, we focus on community education.
Right.
And this project, this was just one dimension of the project that we actually wanted to do.
Right.
And some of the things I'm going to say now, we had them in an actual proposal that we had for the project, which is to get parents out and have forums with them, do some adult education, and throughout this program, this was a pilot. So we wanted to see some of the challenges that we'd face, how the kids would react to the information, what strategies we can use to teach them, etc. And it's very important for us to tackle the parents, because most of the kids who fight, they'd say, Mommy told me to hit them back, but don't let nobody beat me up.
Yeah, I got told that at school. If somebody thumps you, make sure you thump them back harder. But that's what I was taught at school. So it's something that parents say a lot of things to us, and although maybe the parent has a good intention, at the end of the day, when we actually go out and follow that action through and we punch someone, we get in trouble for it. So it's understandable.
Actually surprising that when we had the parents' orientation, if you saw from the pictures, we only had a few parents. But look at how many we had today, and we didn't even have seating for some of them.
Wow.
So I
What
think,
does it make you feel like to see all these parents turning up today?
and then at the orientation when we started.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing that they're coming out
Mm-hmm.
to support their kids, but we thought that we would have had the support from the start.
Mm.
But it was good to have them here. I mean, it's a task.
Mm-hmm.
The parents put their trust in us
Okay.
to deliver something to the life skills to their kids.
Okay.
So I think it's a good effort by them making the extra effort to come out
Okay.
to the graduation ceremony.
Let's talk about the summer school itself. What did you do? What sort of activities did you provide at the summer school?
So the main topics we had, we did the same topics in each class. They were just adjusted to the age, right?
Right.
So the different activities with it. But the main topics we had were health education, which also included things like self-esteem. We had communications, which touched on both just grammar, just general grammar. We also did some Creole, learning the difference between our own Grenadian language and standard English, letting them know that it's okay to speak our own Grenadian Creole. We had arts and art and craft, and then on Thursdays we had creative writing, which included poetry, short story writing, any kind of free writing that they would have liked. And then on Fridays we had like films. Supposed to have a couple trips, didn't happen because of financial challenges. And we did like drama with them they did their dance as well and stuff, just performing arts, yeah.
Communications. She forgot one thing.
Well, for my group, I did, besides doing language and grammar and spelling, I did verbal and non-verbal communication, because they don't only communicate by speaking, they communicate by their body language.
Body language.
And I thought they thought it was very interesting, because they didn't realize that, the things that they do in a class, I can read off of them. So that was very important for me to address that communication, that form of communication with them.
So, what did you learn from this, the three of you? Because from what I gather, you've got quite a wide range of young people. I think you had from 5 or 6 years old, right?
Yeah, 5 to 16.
16. That's a big
gap.
And I mean, that's a big gap to cover. I mean, did you at any stage feel that you needed a male presence or a male role model in the class at any time, or at any of your sessions?
Yes, I did. For my group, because I thought I had...
What's the age group you've got?
I had 8 to 11.
Okay.
8 to 11. And it's sort of difficult to deal with the boys in the group, because they would listen to the teacher, but if they had a stern male presence, I think it would have been a lot easier to get them to settle down and cooperate. Females generally, I don't know if it's just...
The mothering?
Maybe it's the mothering.
Yeah.
They tend to settle faster than the males. So yeah, I do think that if we had a male presence, that the boys would have probably acted a lot different.
Okay. So I want to finish off by the graduation. So what did you have for your graduation, apart from the fact that you had so many people turn out? Give us an example of sort of like what was on offer. What did we miss? those who didn't get to see the graduation?
Well, the highlights of what we did throughout the program, some of the work that the children did, because we had them reading some of their poems, the dances. We got to see I think, some of the communication skills of the kids, which I think I actually must commend my group for, because I think they improved a lot. Normally in class when we started off, they'd speak loud when I'm in the class talking, but when the spotlight's on them,
Yeah, I found that, yeah. Yes.
I think they improved on that, and the body language is being confident enough to read and raising the head, etc. So I thought that was really good. And I don't know if you want to add anything.
What else did they miss?
In terms of speakers or anything like that, did you?
Well, the speeches from the kids themselves too were awesome. They were great. And the funny thing is, well, especially in my class, I had to help them a little bit, but just with like fixing the grammar, fixing the punctuation where it's supposed to be. But they had all of the ideas, and it was a good speech. They knew who to say thank you to, which is probably something that they didn't really know how to do before they came in, you know? They didn't know, because, you know, they actually chose they helped choose the people that are going to speak, right? And before, they probably wouldn't have, you know, they weren't comfortable with each other when they just came in, and they were comfortable enough to say, I am fine with two people representing us as a group.
Right.
And on top of that, you missed the excellent keynote speaker, which was engaging. No, not too long, not too short, just right on target and addressing like each group.
So, what did you learn from the keynote speaker?
Okay. When she introduced the Miss Harriet Tubman, I realized that not everybody put up their hand. I don't think anybody put up their hand.
For Harriet Tubman, yeah.
And that is someone that we would have learned of in secondary school.
Right.
So I think maybe it's because the children are not in secondary school as yet. They have not heard about Harriet Tubman, but it was somebody that I was already familiar with. And just the general theme in which she captured all the points that she presented under emancipation and just mental liberation, and the way she addressed everyone, including the parents. And I was at the back, and I was hearing a lot of the parents seeing a lot of the parents nodding and in agreement with what she was saying. And I just hope that they weren't just nodding, but
taking it in,
and sort of letting it into their homes, because the children took something here, but they also came, and even if it was just 5 minutes of something solid, they need to get it into their homes, and just keep that spirit up.
Emancipation. In closing, I believe yesterday was Emancipation Day in Grenada.
Yes.
I believe it's going to get celebrated on Monday. So my beliefs are correct.
Yes.
Fantastic. We've got that right. What does emancipation mean to you? Start with yourself tonight.
Okay, great. To me, it's far more than being freed from shackles. We celebrate emancipation mainly the freedom of African slaves, who were not only in the Caribbean, well, throughout the Americas. But we always beg to ask the question, as we do at independence, are we truly emancipated? And for me, which is one of the reasons why we chose the theme, because this is actually the theme for the project, emancipation, mental and physical liberation. I think we need to often look at ourselves and just question, how emancipated are we truly mentally? How independent are we? How free are we to think the things that because I think that we are controlled even to the level of our thought. Like, they control, some of the things that we're allowed to think about doing, to think about not doing, or freedoms, or independence, all of that included in it. I think that when I hear emancipation, I feel like we have a long way to go, a long journey, and I think we need an uprising to do it, because it's such a radical change that we need to have.
Yes.
When we think about it, for me, it comes with women and saying, okay, women should wear clothing to avoid being raped, and we don't even question to or beg to ask the question, why should you even want to rape a woman, even if she's walking the road naked and she's crazy, you know, why should you even want to do that? For me, it goes back to incorporating all these, the way that we think. And for me, emancipation, mental liberation, this is what we should be focusing on, because slaves have been freed since 1834, but nothing's really happening with ourselves. And us really truly attaining independence in the Caribbean, regional integration, whatever it is, we need to start thinking more freely before we can achieve any of those things.
Thank you, that was excellent. So?
Okay, I'm going to go back to the theme again, mental and physical liberation, because I think I would have to say when I was doing the poem with my group, I gave them the theme, Uprising, and then I told them about emancipation, and told them, I asked them, what do you think it is to uprise, and what do you think it is to be free? And they didn't know. So I said, let's go for the dictionary and get the meaning of the word. And they said, to be liberated. I said, what does it mean to be liberated? And then somebody said, to revolt. You know, they had the idea in their head, but they didn't have a solid meaning. So I think for me, emancipation is an incorporation of all these. Of course, mentally, I think that, as Didi said, we are controlled somewhat. We are still controlled. And just having that freedom to express yourselves. The whole idea of the summer program was to give the kids an avenue to express yourself, not be afraid to say, not even be afraid to be wrong, because you can be corrected. But who am I to say what you're saying is wrong, and who am I to judge your idea, your opinion? And so I think for me, it's more than just being free from that societal control of just being placed in, I wouldn't want to say in a box, but you know, just that rigid type of
regimental,
that we have.
Thank you so much. And finally?
Yeah, so they kind of covered so much, but for me, I would like to say most, as Didi said and as Ria said, is mostly for me mentally, as we have in the theme, because a lot of the things that happened here, well, we saw that it was so, the mental liberation was so important for the children here, because there are things that, like, just like the class rules that we did, right? We had them make their own class rules. We did not tell them what to do. And they would still say, why don't you punish us? And they would say what they did wrong and still say they should be punished, knowing what they did and not being able to correct themselves. They need somebody to beat them or to say, you shouldn't do it, right? And I think, well, just from that, as you said, pilot program, learned a lot for just to knowing how to deal with them, because they really expect you to just hit them, and we didn't do any of that. And sometimes, you know, we just say, you know, go ahead, have your free time. You know, when you feel better, you're gonna come back, or you know, just let them be. And then that is when they realize, oh no, I don't wanna be bad. You know, I wanna come in and I wanna take part in what you're doing. When you scold them more, it's almost as if, oh gosh, I can't wait for the action. You know, they're waiting for it. So emancipation, as they said before, it's really not physical anymore, but really, really a lot more mental, and a long way to go. Uprising.
Yeah. As she said that, I was just thinking back to the first week, because we always have review sessions with the kids, and when I asked them what I need to do to change or to improve myself, they were telling me, "You're too soft," because they wanted me to shout for them. But if somebody is talking, I just turn to the person and wait until they realize, okay, I can't continue speaking because you're disrupting me. And then maybe the others would call them out, okay, you need to be quiet. But they're just so accustomed to the punishment.
You think that's down to slavery and back to slavery and all that stuff?
Yes.
But it's still happening in schools. Kids are still getting
Yeah.
beaten.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a kid get beat the other day in school. I'm like, I mean, in the UK, doesn't happen. I mean, some of the kids need some good licks, don't get me wrong. Some of the kids do deserve some good licks, but the whole principle of the beating, I mean, you question it, because it was something that happened to the slaves all that way back then. So we reinforce it now today. So what happens when they go out into the society and they're going to get jobs and they're working? What? So they don't do something right in the job and you're going to pick up a belt and beat them. So the only way they can understand is through punishment.
Yeah.
That's programming from young. So
Yeah.
what sort of effect is that happening in our community today? Or, you know, in our work environments? Just a thought. Anyway, thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
This is Uprising.
Thank you.
This is Ingram Jones from Bayloric TV. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. One final thing. How do we contact you ladies? How do we contact Uprising? Do you have an email? Do you have a website?
Facebook page.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Yes.
Ah, we all love Facebook.
So you just look for Uprising, that's the name.
Uprising?
Yes, on Facebook.
There's going to be quite a few uprisings on Facebook. So
And you can put in www.facebook.com/learn.about.uprising.
I see. Media savvy as well. Excellent. So I say, this is Bayloric TV, Ingram Jones at Vincent, St David's, Grenada. I'm out.